Welcome. My name is Rafael Piñon, and today I will be sharing with you information regarding this material, and I will be making a few suggestions like the dosification, for example, the resources available, and some other ideas that, in my opinion, will be really helpful for you. Let me start by speaking about methodology. The methodology that was included in Little Trails is entitled CLIL, Content Language Integrated Learning. The idea behind CLIL is that at the same time that we are teaching English, we can also teach our students something else. Concepts about other fields or other areas, and that is precisely our intention. While we contextualize what students are to learn, they can learn English, of course. Okay, that is the first one of them. The second has to do with communicative language learning. We consider that, of course, at the age of your children in kindergarten, they are not ready, of course, yet to write or to handle conversations, but to recognize and to participate by acting, by following instructions, for example, so that we can identify how much they have understood, and of course, that they can recognize sounds, then words, then statements. All right? So that is one of the methodologies included in Little Trails. Inside Little Trails, you will find pictograms. What does this mean? That on top or next to the activities, there will always be a pictogram to indicate to children what we are expecting them to do. The idea of the pictogram is that students can somehow familiarize or associate what you are saying with what they have to do. By recognizing this pictogram, students will be indirectly also associating your pronunciation to the letters. This is like an indirect way for them to learn to read. All right? So initially, we help students in this level, kindergarten, with these little drawings, little colored drawings that we call pictograms, so as to reinforce the moment you give instructions. Okay? What else can you find in Little Trails? Something very, very important for you and for children. This is the can-do statements. What is a can-do statement? It is the specific objective that we have in mind at the moment of starting an activity on a certain page. In Little Trails, you will always find these can-do statements at the bottom of the page. And these can-do statements can be as simple as this one, for example, which intends to identify community helpers, or trace letters, or sing a song. These are only examples of what you will find in Little Trails. The idea is to make it absolutely clear for the teacher as well as for the students what is the expected outcome in every lesson. From our perspective, this is a very clear way to help you set goals at the moment of planning your lessons. What else can I speak to you about? Something that I consider to be crucial, and this is the unit structure. In the case of Little Trails, we have 8 different lessons that are named or have a specific name, beginning always with the listening trail. This will be one of the ways in which students will receive information. This is the input time. They cannot read yet, so most of the input will be through listening. Another one will be when students actually listen to you. Okay? For example, when you read one of the big books. Each one of these trails or lessons in the book, in Little Trails, has a very specific purpose. For instance, Real English. Real English is the moment when we contextualize whatever we're teaching for students to see that this also exists in their own environment, in their own community. The personalized section, for example, is the moment when, after listening to some kind of a fiction story, students can actually make that story of their own by trying to repeat what they said, by acting it out, for example. That is another possibility. In the case of, for example, writing trail, that is the last of these sections, the intention is to help the students reinforce their traces at the moment that they are writing or learning to write. First letters, then numbers, then probably words, and so and so. The level of difficulty or complexity increases from one level to another and through the level itself, because we are expecting them that they are making progress, and so the exercise will be a little bit every time a bit more challenging. Speaking about the listening trail, as I was telling you, this will be the essence or the core of the program, together with the reading in the big books, because they will establish the elements that the students will be learning. For example, talking about the function, the word, the semantic field, if you want to call it like that, or the lexical set. And then students will also make associations between what they listen and what they actually can see on their own books. Okay? So this is for you to have an idea on what you can find here. On these images that you can see right now, you will realize that this is also material that students can cut out for them to paste, for them to react, for them to show through recognition what they are learning, how much progress they are making, and so and so. Okay? Speaking about the topic trail, this is the moment when we are trying to provide the students with, let's say, the grammar content. All right? More than teaching them structures or the like, we are showing them these words and the context in which they are used for them to become familiarized with them. Now, if you think about this one that I was speaking to you about, Real English is the moment for students to see that in their communities, in their own, in real life, that's why this is called Real English, they can also have access to identifying, to spotting something similar. Okay? It is also important for me to help you notice here. At the bottom of the page, you can see the pictograms that I was speaking to you about, together with one of the can-do statements. This is how we can show you and the students as well what is expected from you in each one of the lessons. In the personalized section, here we have the opportunity for students to be a little bit more creative after they have listened to something, after they have been exposed, for example, to the reading material in the big books. And the idea is that after doing that, they can interact somehow with the content of the lesson. For example, in this case, by cutting out, by coloring, by repeating, and so and so. In the learning trail, we have the opportunity also to help students recycle information that they have seen before in the lesson. Okay, this is an opportunity to revisit not only vocabulary, but also, for example, their pronunciation. In some of the lessons, they will also see the phonics that are, of course, this is connected to the pronunciation of the words. And in the learning trail, they will have the opportunity to re-practice these as well. Ideally, when we come to the language trail, they will be familiarized with this, and they will be able also to make connections between what they have learned before with what they are learning at the moment. This is a very good opportunity for them to practice or to get to the mechanization process through repetition drills, and so on. In the reading trail, or the reading section, if you want to call it that way, the idea is that the students participate by, first of all, listening to you, and then doing whatever you tell them to. In this case, for example, if you notice it, the instructions are somehow implicit in at the top of the image by indicating how they should color the illustrations that we have here. Of course, from my perspective, a very entertaining activity and a very good moment for all the teachers to realize how much students can actually recognize in a very simple manner. When we speak about writing, as I mentioned it before, we are not expecting them to write down complete letters complete sentences or anything like that, but to help them reinforce this writing process through tracing letters in some cases. In some other cases, it will be numbers. And this is what we want them to do. Okay, we are contextualizing, in this case, the community helpers, in this case, the fire brigade or the firefighters. We are making an association of that with letter F, obviously because of firefighters. And this is the way in which we are helping them put everything together. This is another of those moments in which students can see that in real life this exists, and that what they are learning in English is something that can also see in their own community. Students will receive their student's book, and in each one of them, they will have access to these cutouts that they will have the opportunity to interact with, and in that way to demonstrate how much they are learning. And you, as the teacher, will receive obviously your teacher's guide and 2 big books. This is quite interesting for me to tell you, because we have a fact book in which we will have, let's say, real information about other subjects, such as, for example, a little bit of geography when we speak about other places, and the storybooks in which everything is fictional. These 2 big books will somehow represent the core of our lessons, because from each one of the readings in either of the books, we will have then the rest of the content. I'm speaking about the phonics, I'm speaking about the language, in this case the vocabulary set, for example, and or certain functions. So this is the importance of these big books. And something else for me to say that in my opinion will be really helpful for you is that in the teacher's guide, in the interleaved manner, you will have the instructions, the recommendations, the answers that correspond to the sequence of the book. But also you will have on the following page the page of the student's book. So by just opening your teacher's guide, you will have access to both of them. From my point of view, that is quite helpful. When we speak about the teacher's guide, this is the way it looks like. Obviously, all of the objectives have been stated, and you have in a very clear way, unit by unit, what you have to do. Here you have, obviously, all of the trails, all of the sections, and this is also for you to help yourself at the moment of planning your lesson, at the planning of making your annual program, if that is necessary. I think this can be very much helpful, especially because the objectives have been stated. In the teacher's guide, as I was telling you, you can also see that you have the content of what is included, for example, in the student's book or in the listening material. It's very important for you to realize that at the very bottom, or at the very end of every one of the units, there is a can-do statement, as I was telling you before, that will help you and the students realize about the progress that you have made in each one of the lessons. What else can you find in the teacher's guide? Any additional material that you may need, for example, additional instructions for other activities, and also what we call the assessment. This assessment that can be photocopied will appear at the end of every unit, and this will be material that you can hand out to your students for them to somehow, again, show you how much they have understood. All right, so this is included in the teacher's guide. You will not have to design anything extra. And you also have access to the answer key, which probably you will not need, but it is included anyway. The storybooks, as I was telling you before, contain fictional material that you can use in your class, together with the fact book, which contains information about, as I was telling you before, other fields. For example, natural sciences, arts, geography, mathematics, and so on. This is not for us to teach the subject itself, but to mention facts, such as the ones that you can see on this illustration. Now, I would like to show you a little bit of what you can find. Apart from these materials that I have displayed, you will also have access to our digital resources. If you allow me, this is what I would like to show you. First of all, I want to make it clear. At the moment, I will be speaking to you about the content of the digital resources. In a separate video, you can find information about how to use this platform, if you want to call it that way. You will have specific information about how to create your account for you to have access to our platform and the like. At the moment, I am only showing you the content related to Little Trails. This is the appearance of the platform, and I have access to all of these materials. You will only find here the materials that you will have access to. I suppose it can be Little Trails 1, 2, and 3, and that's what I'm going to show you at the moment. So these are the materials I have access to, and from here I will display Little Trails. I will begin by the first one, and it's important for me to tell you that in our platform, you will have the possibility to create groups so that you can have exactly the same groups as the ones you have in your school. They can be part of your platform here, okay? That's the first possibility you have. The second possibility, in our teacher resources, you have access to a lot. What is a lot? For example, as you can see here, the teacher's guide that you will have printed, that you will have on your hands, is also available on the platform, which means that at any specific moment, you can decide whether to work with the printed version of the teacher's guide or just the digital version. Up to you. Important news. The big books are also included here, which means that if you have the necessary resources in your school, like a laptop or a computer plus a projector, you can also display these in your classroom, and I have the feeling that this will be really attractive for your students. You have picture cards and a picture dictionary, as well as illustrations for special occasions right here, okay? And if that were not enough, all of the listenings are available here. We will not provide you with any kind of a disc. Everything is already digitalized, so whatever you need is available in the platform. Inside each one of the units, you will have access to whatever you need. I'm talking about the student's book itself, for example. Here you have a digital version of it, plus whatever that you may also need. For example, all of the corresponding material that is to be cut out, for example. If you want to, you can display this, you can project it in your classroom to make it easier to exemplify, to demonstrate, to show your students how to work with this. And if you notice it, you also have here available the listening material, which means that you don't have to have anything else. You don't have to bring a CD or a CD player. No, you have it right here available for you to directly play. So as I was telling you, apart from this material, that is the digital version of the book, you can bring in whatever resource you want to and have it organized here. You have the possibility to add your resources and have them organized directly in our platform. Apart from that, you will also have access, as I was telling you before, to the assessments. Okay, available for each one of the units. There is this assessment that you can print, that you can hand out to your students. And if that is also necessary, if you want to bring in some additional materials, some additional activities, you can insert them in this area and then send them directly to your students. we know that we will depend on the assistance, the help of parents for this to happen, but this is what I wanted to show you. So, as you can see, the use of our digital resources is something quite friendly for you. And remember, you will have an extra video in which you will have the opportunity to learn how to gain access to this platform. And the rest, as you could just see it, is something very intuitive and simple to handle. The conjunction between the printed material and these digital resources, from our point of view, will be something, these elements will make the teaching and their learning something really easy to handle. So I sincerely hope that this information will prove useful to you, and we sincerely also hope that you enjoy working with Little Trails. So on behalf of Group SM, University of Dayton Publishing, my name is Rafael Piñón, and I hope to see you pretty soon. Best of success with your classes.